شرفت المدينة مرحبا يا خير داع.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. نحمده ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. Respected viewers and listeners, beginning by praising Almighty Allah, sending salutations upon our beloved Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is the beginning of the Islamic New Year, and this is a message on this auspicious occasion. There is no doubt whatsoever that unlike other civilizations, isms, and ideologies, the Islamic New Year is not characterized by revelry, celebrations of merrymaking. In fact, our New Year and our calendar begins with sacrifice for the cause of truth and steadfastness. It seems that this is being divinely inspired. When the Muslims migrated from Mecca to Medina and they came to Medina Munawwara, Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu gathered the companions and said, how do we start our calendar? And there were different viewpoints that emerged. And eventually, it was a consensus of the Sahaba, which is an evidence in our Sharia, the consensus of the Sahaba, that it should start off from the Hijra. Now, this in itself is such a great lesson, that our calendar did not start on the birth or death of our beloved Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It did not start, for example, on the conquest of Makkah. It did not start on the monumental victory at the time of the Battle of Badr. But it started off on an occasion and an incident which was difficult for the Sahaba. They had to leave their upbringing, they had to leave their home to migrate to a different environment. So what does that teach us with regard to our calendar, with regard to the beginning of our Islamic New Year? Firstly, it teaches us that the struggle between truth and falsehood is an ongoing struggle. It is not something that happens once off. I had a situation where I had to make a choice between truth and falsehood on a one-off situation. No, it is something that is eternal. Our entire year, our entire life is going to be a constant struggle between truth and falsehood. And we have to wage that struggle in such a way that we give precedence to the truth over falsehood, over anything else. The second thing is that we find that when you look at the Hijra, we all know that Muslims were financially, physically, they were greatly in distress, in difficulty. But yet in a short period of time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted Muslims victory. The Roman and the Persian Empire fell at the hands of the Muslims within a short period of time after Hijra, after the death of our beloved Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The second great lesson that we learn from our Islamic calendar, from the Hijra, which is the beginning of our Islamic calendar, is that patience, faith, commitment, willingness to sacrifice yields positive results, even if there is difficulty and there is struggle and there is effort in the beginning. Second great lessons. The third great lesson that we learn, and I think I would like to share on this occasion of the beginning of the Islamic calendar, is in Makkah Mukarramah, most of the commands that came upon the Muslims were based on individual development, individual spiritual development. So most of the commands were with regard to Salat, Taqwa, Iman. There were very few, if any, community commands with regard to community interaction, commands with regard to how are you going to live together as a community. All other commands concerning community and community-based and collective nature all came after Hijrah, after the beginning of the Islamic calendar. Now here again it teaches us that while we need individual development, it's not sufficient for prosperity and not sufficient for salvation. And the fourth great lesson that I would like to give on this occasion of the beginning of the Islamic New Year is each and every time, everyone, when we have a new year, there is New Year resolutions. From our side, what we need to do is, what is our ambition? What is our resolutions? We must have resolutions which is in keeping with our great legacy and our great teachings. Nabi Karim Sallallahu on one occasion, which I will conclude, said, when you ask of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ask Allah ta'ala for Jannatul Firdaus. Don't only ask Allah for Jannah. Ask Allah ta'ala for Jannatul Firdaus. Ask for big things. Your ambition should be great, should be in accordance with our great legacy and our great teachings. These are four amongst many lessons that I would like to share, which is in conjunction, and it is most appropriate for the beginning of our Islamic New Year. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.
جئت شرفت المدينة مرحبا يا خير دار.